Go ahead.
Okay. Are you asking for a deductive argument for God?
Yeah.
Are you asking for a deductive argument, God, wherein at least the first and second premise exclude God's revelation?
Um, well, I don't know what God's revelation is,
Okay.
so I don't know.
So you want a first and second premise that do not include God in any sense, and then
Yes.
thereby
Yeah.
concluding
Yeah.
God. That's an incoherent request.
Why does the premise have to include God?
I said that's incoherent. Do you know why?
Why?
Well, think about it. Let's see how smart you are.
I don't think I'm smart.
Yeah, you don't sound smart to me.
All right.
Okay, it's incoherent because how are you going to establish
Neither you, bitch.
Okay, your server muted. Yeah, and he runs another drive-by atheist. Okay, that's all they have. Now,
Okay.
the mistake that you're making is because you want God to be concluded, but how are you going to establish any premise without God?
Well, you don't, right?
Oh, so if you don't establish premise, then that collapses deductive argumentation. But then you ask for deductive argumentation, which you have just admitted
Yeah.
is not viable.
Yeah.
So now you've con- so now
So
you
you can't.
so
So
now,
you can't. So
li-
basically, your answer is you
listen,
can't deduct
don't fucking overtalk me. Okay.
it. Okay.
Now you've now contradicted yourself, whether or not you're aware of it. Okay. You just admitted that deductive reasoning is not viable in your view. You realize that?
No. What I said is you
Okay,
basically can't deduct it.
listen, moron. You are stupid. Okay, I'm going to tell you to your face. You are a
Okay.
stupid person, or you're a troll. Okay,
All
I'm
right.
going to ask you a question: is
Yeah.
deductive argumentation viable at all?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you establish any premise?
When it comes to God, you can start with
No,
a
sir,
hypothesis, but
listen carefully, numbnuts. Okay, and I'm confronting to your face because you're a smart ass. Okay.
I don't think I'm
Now,
smart.
listen to the question.
Okay.
Don't answer a question I didn't ask.
Okay.
How do you establish any premise?
Well, okay. Well, I'll answer you. I'll answer that, and you can establish a premise with a hypothesis in this, in
No,
this
sir.
scenario.
So you establish a premise with a guess?
Yeah. You can start there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You're an idiot.
You could also start with
You're
start with
listen.
providing evidence.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Empirical evidence.
Okay. Listen. In order to present evidence, you're going to have to use deduction, right?
Yeah.
Good. How do you establish a premise?
By hold up. You said what? By providing evidence, that's a deduction. Providing evidence isn't a deduction.
How do you establish ultimately that any premise is the case?
I mean, like, isn't what I said good enough before? Can't you
How
just provide?
how do you establish that a premise is necessarily the case? How do you do it in your world? Don't fucking overtalk me.
Okay, I'm answering your question.
Okay. No, you're not. You're overtalking me. Now, I keep on repeating the same question. How do you ultimately establish that any premise that something is necessarily the case?
You follow it up with a conclusion.
How do you establish that anything is the case? How does your system do that?
Empiricism. 5 senses.
No, sir. No, you're an idiot.
Okay.
Okay? Empiricism would be after you have ontology and epistemology. Okay?
Okay.
And are you talking about you talking about empirical endeavors or empiricism as a philosophical outlook?
Um,
Empiricism is the
how do you define
position.
the difference?
Empiricism is the position that the only things that are worthy of believing are okay. Empiricism is the position that the only things that are worthy of believing